Hello? Well, welcome to week 12. We're doing some PAWS. By the way, this is going to be June 20th to June 26th. Again, welcome to PAWS. This is the progress and weekly stats where we celebrate the wins, at least one questionable decision, and the chaos. Somewhere around there. Consistency is a myth, cat logic is real, and progress still counts, even when it's messy. So yeah, I am having a morning. I realized that the little end to my favorite piercing is missing, so we're going to figure that out because I really don't want to lose it. I almost re-pierced an old piercing in this ear, trying to get this earring in. Yeah, so little story before we start delving into last week. And just let you know, no, I am not going through a midlife crisis. You can't do that if you've never changed. Anyway, so anyways, when I was younger, when I was in high school and graduating and stuff like that, I used to have, I believe, a cartilage piercing here. I only had one piercing here. Like, this ear does not like piercings. This one's having issues. It was fine, and now it's having issues. I had piercings all the way up this ear. I had piercings in my eyebrow. Welcome to the year 2000. So I lost most of those mainly because of, I got one of those jobs as a cook, which makes sense, where I was like allowed to wear my bottom piercings, but that was it. Like, I'd take everything out. So most piercings, most of them, close fairly quickly, like within a day or two. Like, so that's your cartilage and stuff like that. Other ones took some time, but I was too lazy to put earrings back in them because I usually wear, like, kind of, I guess, perma earrings in those. Anyway, long story short, I at least got some of them back. This one is my favorite one. That's why I'm a little afraid to lose it. So, yeah, just, welcome to listening to me about something random. Anyway. Welcome to week 12. Anyways, let's go back to what we're going to be doing. As usual, here is where we talk again about just my progress throughout the week and what happened this last week and stuff like that. So this is just the, I guess the boring health statistic stuff. Just to let you know, when you go through there's gonna be 3 videos. There's the pause, which is this one. This is the yarn. Then there's gonna be the yarn. That's one where we just kind of talk about, like, I like different, like, little health things or something like that, and explain why and stuff like that. Just kind of make it a little more knowledgeable. That's the yarn. And then there's the claw, and that is where I spotlight something. And then lately I've been doing these little exercise. Well, not me. I kind of make these little pictures, make this little exercise. It's just this, like, it ends up being a 10-minute exercise thing that I do, like, in rounds throughout the day or after work or through lunch or something like that. Like, if I have time and I have 10 minutes, that's what I'll do to help myself out. So that's what's been going on, if you haven't already noticed. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so basically yarn this week, we are going to be talking about white coat syndrome. The claw, I am going to pay my kitty tax, and you will hopefully be meeting my cats if they allow me to do that. And then the little exercise video that we're going to be adding on squats. And it'll be okay. Believe me, I know. Squats are hard, I know. But, yeah. Anyway. So, what happened this week? Let's just get on to stuff while I'm just here rambling. Do not let me ramble. So, last week, I was planning to basically have another week of 5 out of 5 exercise days. Like, that was my plan. Full for it. Yeah, just Monday through Friday, because we all know on the weekends, this is where I am. It's right here. I ain't doing anything, really. We all see that on my steps. I started out strong. I was doing good. I was so happy. I did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I was like 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5. Ooh, we're going to do 4 and 5, right? Yeah. So, Thursday hit. I got through work. Barely. And by the time I got home, or out of work rather, I was exhausted. I was still determined. But my body's starting to really hurt. Like, my thighs and my knees a little bit. My arms, which we'll talk about. I basically ended up eating dinner. I sat down for a second and I just went to sleep. I passed out. Didn't care. So, alright, missed that day. And then I woke up for a little bit and I was like, that's alright. Tomorrow it'll be 4 out of 5. We do 4 out of 5. It'll be fine. No. So, Friday ended up happening. And unfortunately, the pain got a little bit worse. And my body was just hurting so bad. I literally got 3 hours through my work shift and I went, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I gotta call out. And went back to sleep. It's okay. Today, well, technically yesterday because it's past midnight now, but today was not much better. My arms still hurt, but they weren't as bad. But then my back decided that it's going to join in the fun. So I ended up taking my normal daily medicines for my arms that I take every day. The ones that are prescribed by my doctor. Talk about what happened with my arms. We'll just give a little bit of information today. And I took some, and I will tell you, I take Excedrin for body aches. For me, it dulls things to make my life manageable, I guess. Now, just to be clear, always check with your doctor before adding anything new. And this even includes over-the-counter anything, especially if you have different things that happen with your body. High blood pressure, I have diabetes, I have this, I have that. Especially if they have you on a lot of medications, because you need to know what acts with what medications, stuff like that. So, yes, I am actually on quite a bit of meds, supplements, vitamins. And so, yes, I did check my doctor. I was like, is Excedrin okay? Because I know it's headache, but it helps me out with my arms when it's just particularly bad. And he's like, yeah, sure. So, I got the A-OK. But, again, if you're like, oh, if it works for you, it might work for me, that's cool. Talk to your doctor first. Make sure it doesn't interact with anything. Make sure it might not, like, I know, like, it has certain things in there, like, maybe if you have some, I don't know, something that it might interact with, check with your doctor. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying to take Excedrin. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway. Talk with your doctor first. Anyway, so I've said most of this before, but I wanted to dive just a little bit deeper into just some of the aches, pains, stuff like that, just so in case you have, you might understand it a little bit more, or maybe you feel this. So why was last week rough? Now, these are not all my injuries. We're just going over some of them. I have possibly some rotator cuff issues. Did I look that up? No, that was, so when I went in for my arms, my lower arms into my hands, they did something called a nerve study. I'll talk about that when I talk about this ulnar nerve thing. But anyways, what they found out is it is quite a possibility. We haven't gotten any definites because my shoulders, they cause me problems, but not, we're going step by step. We got so much stuff to go through with my doctor. We're just step by step. Let's get this one first. But yeah, it's possible I might have rotator cuff issues. Now, the rotator cuff is basically a group of muscles and tendons that help your shoulder move and stay stable. When it's irritated or it's injured, you get pain, weakness, and that lovely, my arm does not want to lift today, feeling. So we're pretty sure got something going on there. I don't know how long that one's been a thing, but my shoulders have always had beef with me, basically. Yeah. So me and my doctor will delve into that a little bit deeper when that becomes the next problem. We're just going by what's worse and going to what's not as bad, I guess. Second problem, and this one I found out about many, many years ago, is basically there is a curved bone in my right shoulder. Well, I guess it can be slightly curved, but like mine kind of, it's not supposed to do that. It's basically not supposed to be curved in that way. And what it happens is it rubs up against the muscle. And this again can cause pain. This can cause numbness going all the way down my arm. And when I roll it, it makes a weird little rolly poppy noise, which is always fun. And again, it's been since my early 20s. I did a lot of physical therapy, which helped, so my arm and my hand don't fall asleep as often, and it's not like in as much pain, but it still acts up. Now, I wish I could tell you what it was called. I don't remember. It has been like 10 plus years since I went through the whole imaging, MRI or whatever thingy. When I made the picture for this, I just put down, I was like, we kind of looked up what it might be, and it kind of sounds like that, but that one might not be me. I am not entirely sure until I actually like get my stuff together to find out. I'm not going to say that's exactly what it is, but all I know is curved bone equals pain. No fun. So yeah, that's one of them. But yeah. Now the other thing, this is the main thing that I went to that study for, is called tennis elbow, basically. I have it in both of my arms. Yay. And this one was just a whole saga. So when this first started, because I was like, I type. This is what I do in my job, is I type a lot. And I was calling out a lot. Like my arms hurt and my hands hurt so bad. Like I had to wear gloves. It's the middle of summer and I'm wearing gloves because the cold was making them hurt. And this was a few months, or not even a few months, like a month or so, I don't know, after my my seizure, right? So I've been seeing my doctor often at this point. Like now I can see him every 6 months unless I need something. But at this point I'm seeing him like once a week, once every other week, stuff like that, because we're still trying to figure out what happened with that whole fun part. So yeah. So we were like, okay, well, it is possible. Is it carpal tunnel? Don't think so. And it could very well be because my sugars were so high. And this is actually a thing where it can affect different places of your body. We weren't sure, but my doctor, because he's a good doctor, and this is how I found out he's a good doctor, he went, this is what I think it is. Like, he's like, I'm pretty sure it's not carpal tunnel. I'm pretty sure it's the sugar stuff. But just in case, let's get an x-ray, and let's send you out for a study, which I found out is basically a nerve study. Yeah. So if you've never had a nerve study before, they're fun. So first of all, they zap you. Like, they zap you up and down your arms, which is not actually all that bad. For me, it was kind of fun. Like, part of the PT on my shoulder, or with this, was like this TENS device that they put on the back of my shoulder blade that basically kind of zaps your muscles and stuff. It felt like kind of the same thing. Your hands do weird things. That wasn't so bad. And then after they're done zapping you, they stick little needles in all the muscles to see how the nerves fire. That was an experience. I'm afraid of needles, just to let you know. Anyway, results came back. Not carpal tunnel. But I did have tennis elbow in both arms. The doctor basically said, yeah, your ulnar nerve is having fun. Now, the ulnar nerve runs along the inside of your arm, and I cannot remember. I should look up. It's like somewhere here, I think, or somewhere, I don't know. It runs inside of your arm. It's the one it's basically the one you smack when you hit your funny bone. And when it starts to get irritated, it can cause pain, it can cause tingling, it can cause weakness, all kinds of nonsense from your elbow all the way down to your hand. And after the seizure last year, because my arms and my hands clamped so hard, they basically kicked off the irritation in both of my arms. And it's been hanging around ever since. Now, they also give me these arm straps to wear. They're somewhere around here. I haven't actually been wearing them lately, so that means it is getting better, but they're still somewhere whenever I need them. And I talk about them. And I also take certain medications that the doctor prescribed to me to kind of calm down the nerves a little bit, so that way I can function. And believe me, when I forget to take a dose, my arms let me know. Yeah. But like I said, it is better now. It ain't perfect, but it's better. Here's the fun part. Tennis elbow can take months to years to just fully calm down. Yay me. Some people recover in a few months. I'm a bit jealous. Some people take a year or more. That seems to be me. And some people just have flare-ups that just come and go long term. And I'm hoping that's not me, but with my luck, it probably is. It really just depends on how irritated the tendon and the nerve are, and how much you use your arms, and how your body heals. Mine not so good lately. So for me, we're still on that journey, and it's improving. Not gone yet. I also have the mystery of the upper arm. This is right here, right outside here, going down, like kind of to here. Oh, this one is currently being investigated. We're not sure what happened. I can tell you what happened. I just don't know what happened, if that makes sense. It all started with the COVID shot. So from what I've looked up, this is a might be. This is not a definite be. This is a might be. This is just, basically I keep looking up stuff to see what it might be. So I can go to my doctor and go, does this sound like what it might be? Can we try this? Whenever we actually look into it, because it is getting annoying. But basically what might have happened is that when they injected me, they may have injected me in the wrong spot. Now this can irritate the deltoid or the surrounding structures. For 6 months after that shot, I couldn't lay on my arm. I could barely move my arm. And the doctor that I had at the time was, let's face it, useless. And then 6 months into it, it magically went away. Ooh. And I thought it was gone. I was so happy. You don't know how happy I was. I'm in pain. Not like, just usually it's a dull, like I can function. I'm used to it. I'm a 90s kid. I'm used to it. But this pain, when it was gone, I was thrilled. I was ecstatic because some pain magically went away. And then last year, let's bring this up again, I had a seizure. And it came back. And it's staying this time. It is toning down. Like, I can finally actually lay on it for a little bit now. I still have to go over it fully with my current doctor. Like I said, one major issue at a time. And I have more major issues than this, so this is somewhere on that list. But yeah, so basically the general info to this is that yes, an improper injection placement can irritate muscle or nearby structures. But again, only a clinician can confirm what actually happened. So these are thoughts. These are thoughts I'm going to bring to my doctor. This chair really needs something. But at least I can explain to you possibilities that you can say, hey, this sounds familiar. Can we look at it? Now let's talk about my back. Give me a second, because like I said, this chair's kind of wobbly. Anyways, this is the last one we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about every single one because we only got a lot. But yeah, my back has been gone for years. Like many, 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 many years. Like since I was a teenager, many years. Because I was taught, lift by your knees. Now why do I say that? Because that's what I was taught. That is not what I did. Okay? I blew out them suckers a while back too. So, and again, talk about that later. But as for the back, so I was doing some farm work basically, and I lifted not one, but 2 big old buckets of water because I was, I think, how old was I? 15, 14, 16? Somewhere in that age of, I do stupid things. And that was the end of that. So I don't have any definites of what is going on with my back. I don't know what muscles I pulled or what I did to them or anything else like that because I didn't go to the doctor at that time. Probably should have. Believe me, I was held up for weeks. But mainly my back, my bottom back hurts, and a lot of times my upper back hurts. And it's just, again, because back pain just comes and goes and does a thing. So yeah. Basically, why am I telling you this? When we stack it all together, it's no wonder that sometimes my body just needs to tap out, basically. Last week was one of those weeks, so kind of explaining the fun stuff. My body decided it was flare time. My legs were also flaring up, but that may have been from a lot of like stair walking, using those muscles and stuff like that, and you know, things get sore. Of course, my arms flared up because they're always auditioning for a pain commercial. Why not? And all at once, I settled in just a dull ache. Once it just finally I can talk today, just settled into a dull ache. My back went, tag 'em it. And look, every day is dull pain for me. It sucks, but I'm used to it. I'm not saying it to whine, just letting you know it is something constant. But I can deal with dull pain. Been doing it since well before my 20s, so yay. Welcome to getting older when you had just a little bit too much fun in your younger days, okay? That's what to look forward to. Yay, translation. I did a lot of stupid stuff and my body likes to remind me every now and then. That's about it. So, going into that, just kind of want to make a statement. Should pain stop you from exercising? Not automatically, no. Like, this is important. If the pain is coming from something that needs rest, pushing through it can make it worse. So, talk to your doctor first about anything that you do. Like I would say, if you can move safely and your doctor says it's okay, movement can help, like strengthen the muscles, stuff like that. But you need to listen. You need to know when your body's like, you know what? No, you need to rest. You need to rest. You need to repair. And so you don't always want to like push through it. But yeah. And of course, you also need to know what's going on with your body. So, is there something that is going on with your body that if you move it, it could hurt you? This is why you want to talk to your doctor. As I said, talk to your doctor. Because everybody's different. What helps me might not help you. But again, once you've gotten that A-OK thumbs up from your doctor, move, okay? Start small and always start small and build it up. If you jump into something doing it too much, too fast, you can hurt something. Like you can actually literally go from trying to help yourself to hurting something. Does that mean when you're hurting, you should force yourself to move anyway, as we were going over? If you can, like if it's not too bad, I would say yes. But maybe make it a little gentler, like a more gentle movement. Like instead of doing that full squat, maybe do half of one. Or maybe just skip the squats for the day, but move what you can. And sometimes you do need to take a hard look at yourself and go, should I? And sometimes the answer is no. And your body may just need to repair. And it might take a day, it might take 2, it might take a weekend. Just whenever you do move, listen to your body and kind of figure out, is this a doctored thing? Is it persistent? Is it weird? Is it sharp? Is it new? Is it not acting like your normal pain? Doctor. Okay? Don't guess. Don't Google diagnose. Don't push through something that might be an injury. Okay? Is it kind of just dull? Whatever. Do you feel like you can move? Okay, but be gentle. Like maybe tone down a little bit. Does it feel like it's kind of hurting? It's kind of flaring today. Like, you kind of look at it and go, you know what? Maybe not. Like I said, listen to your body. All in that, Thursday this week, my body just went, ma'am, no, and I listened. Okay, I didn't listen to it on Thursday, per se. I passed out, and my body made the decision for me. But once I woke up and realized everything hurt, I finally went, fine, you win. Back on the horse on Monday. We'll get it. Here's the thing. Exercising and building those muscles, it does make my body sore. Sometimes it hurts. If it hurts too much, I adjust. As we were going, I scaled back, I changed the movement, I listen. As I build those muscles, the pain does lessen. It doesn't disappear, but it becomes manageable. Will exercise magically fix everything? Probably not. Am I in less overall pain than I have ever been, even with my flare-ups? I still have a dull ache every day. That is just part of my life. But I can function. I can move. I can work. I can get through my day without feeling like my body is shutting down. And that is what matters. Exercise doesn't cure me, but it gives me strength. It gives me stability and enough relief so I can actually live my life instead of just surviving it. getting off my little high horse then. Yeah. And yeah, my brain's kind of everywhere today, so just bear with me. What else happened last week? So, I'm trying to figure out a few things with WONDR, which I will be spotlighting at some point, like probably about 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. It's just kind of how my rotation goes. But here's a quick version, well, as quick as I'm going to make it. I did restart my program. Yes, you can do this once a year, because those little weekly videos, they do give me motivation. I like them. And they're my, okay, let's get back on track moments. Depending on your insurance, you can get some cool little extras. Some mine cover, some mine don't. Sucks. But whatever. Right now, I'm just trying to email them to see if I can get a new welcome kit. I'm not sure if I can. My original one came with like a tape measure, which I use all the time, and it is dying right now. I know it came like a little like WONDR sticker, which I would love to, because I do want to eventually make this little vision board as I talk. I'd love to have a WONDR sticker on there, because it has been a great part of this journey and really helpful for me. And they also like did one of those little like plastic bracelet-y things, because I would rock that, yes. However, like I said, tape measure dying, I lost the sticker and the wristband. Why? I'll be honest, when I first started, I was like, there's no way any of this is going to work, but I was trying anything. And I have a tendency to lose things. I'm not very good at keeping things. It's just the way I am. I don't know. People are people. So anyways, I was trying to email them, trying to see if I get a new welcome kit. Yeah, this little thing, you know. But emails take time, so we're going to see what happens there. I might not get one. That's okay. But we're trying. And if I do, I will at least keep it around for when I do the WONDR spotlight, basically, so I can show it off, and then I'll put in the cool little things. What else is coming on? So this week I decided to fold in Copilot Health. Yeah. So I can look at all my stats, point out some things I'm probably missing when I'm looking at them. I mean, I understand psychology a bit, sure. I mean, that was my major. But as for like the human body, I'm actually learning as I'm doing these videos, but otherwise, not so much. Yeah, I'm not a human body like this. Oh. We're learning together in these videos. So just to let you know, these weekly blurbs that I'm going to be talking about sound a little smarter or a little more detailed. That's why. Now we are just waiting for her to connect with Google Health, so everything can sync automatically. And when that happens, I have a feeling my life is going to be at least a tiny bit easier. Maybe. I have hope. Yeah. So, alright. So I've rambled enough, okay? That's the main part of what happened this past week. Everything else, not really too many changes. It's the same chaos, different day. So let's get into the fun part. You know, the one we are really here for. How did my stats go this week? Let's start it up. Okay, y'all, how to do that normally. Hey, it's been 20 minutes. Let's restart. And my phone wasn't working. Anyway, here we go. Stretch my back. Let's talk about my weight. This was a fun week. It was one of those classic, my body is doing whatever it wants weeks. Scale bounced all over the place, which is what happens. Down, up again. It's kind of like it was, I'm watching it try out for a trampoline team. I did hit a low of 222.8 twice on Sunday and Thursday. Talk about being excited. And Tuesday decided to be a dramatic with the 225.5. Whatever. Day-to-day swings, kind of rude, but they're also totally normal. Half the time it's just water, salt, digestion, or my body just being petty because I looked at a tortilla chip. But the part that actually matters is the weekly trend. The trend that says I am down 0.9 pounds this week. Not a huge drop, not a dramatic drop, but a steady, sustainable one. The kind that actually sticks. The big picture, since April of 2025, I have lost 71.2 pounds. I never thought I would hear. I mean, I know in some videos I told you about when I was younger, I weighed 420 pounds and I dropped 100. That was dropping 100 pounds in my 20s. And it took me a few months because I was in my 20s and I was 420 pounds. And honestly, it's not that hard to move because that's actually a lot of like water and salt and stuff like that. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Then you start to get to a weight where it's not really as much water and stuff. And plus, I'm 20 years older, just about almost. Not as easy, unfortunately. So right now, it's not only that I've lost 71.2 pounds since last year, it's also that I'm still doing it over a year later. That is not like me. And like I said, I don't think I've seen anywhere close to this weight since right after high school. You know, I get back to my high school weight. When I reach 200, I am back to my high school self, okay? I'm gonna be happy though. But yeah, it's wild. By losing that weight, it basically is my joints are basically kind of like sending me thank you notes territory, and my back pain has opinions, but at least it's lighter opinions territory. So yeah, daily numbers chaotic, but the week overall win. A quiet, steady win, and I will take it. Wee chair. Alright. Blood pressure. Yeah. We're going to be talking a little bit about this in the yarn video, and I'll tell you why then, but let's talk about at least this week's fun blood pressure. So now my health app finally knows my entire medication lineup, because I went and said, okay, Google Health, these are all the medications I take, these are all the vitamins, these are all the supplements, these are all the blah, 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 and it went, oh, which, yeah, they have Google Health set up, like it's not going to remember, like, how much you take or how often you take, but remember that you take it, or you prescribed it or something, and these are the vitamins, I don't know. I haven't figured it out. We're going to figure it out. I'm still playing with it. It's fun. But I told it everything I did, and I said, okay, here's my stuff. I think I've been off these last few weeks, basically, and what I've been explaining, like, probably incorrectly. What do we see? So, starting to make a little more sense right now, maybe. So my overall weekly average was 96.7 over 61. It's on like the lower end of normal, but you factor in that I am on several blood pressure lowering medications, plus a couple others that also nudge things a little bit downward. The afternoon dips stop being mysterious and they start being kind of expected. They're annoying, but they're expected. So, like I said, we talk about those afternoon numbers. They're about like 76 over 51 and 80 over 53. Those are actually low. And with that many of those blood pressure lower medications being stacked together, it's not as shocking, like in the afternoons, especially since things are starting to quiet down to where I'm not as like stressed out in the afternoon. I kind of feel like my body's a little bit tired. It's kind of foggy. I feel kind of floaty, stuff like that. And what that means is that the combination, or as I like to call it, my cocktail of medications is doing its job, and it might be doing it just a little too enthusiastically. It's okay. Now my mornings, they are actually, for once, the most stable part of my week, and they're averaging about 109.8 over 65.6, calling that a win. So what that means is I really do believe those panic calming exercises are helping me in total. And then when work being less chaotic and my mornings are finally behaving, I am getting like normal human numbers instead of it's fight or flight o'clock, basically. The evenings, as always, actually I don't think those ones have really changed, if I'm remembering correctly. They're pretty average, nothing dramatic. And yeah, we're going to be talking about white coat syndrome and yarn. There's another possibility in that when it comes to my medications, but again, we'll go over that. Basically what that means is my body does love to spike in medical settings and then drop back down in home. So between the medications, the weight loss, the calmer mornings, the white coat factor, the pattern kind of tracks. Big picture, again, with the amount of weight I've lost, the number of blood pressure lowering medications I'm on, my blood pressure needs have possibly changed. What made sense for my body 70 plus pounds ago, right after a seizure, that the blood pressure was part of the causation, might be pushing things a little too low now. So I'm going to be talking to my doctor. I don't have a doctor's appointment until October, so unless they like do a major drop, I'm be fine waiting until October, to be perfectly honest. But I will be talking to my doctor about this, and not in kind of like a panic way. Just, my body's a little bit different. Do you think we should adjust, kind of the way? So this way I can bring all my stuff to him, and we'll see that. Let's talk about heart rate. Overall average for this week is 94 beats per minute, which is, it's in the normal range. It's just a little bit higher in the normal range, but as we've seen, my numbers seem to always kind of be there. It's kind of the pattern of it. Afternoon standout again. The heart rate's climbing up to the hundreds. It was at 107 on Wednesday. It was 104 on Thursday. And that's about the same time my blood pressure is hitting at its lowest points as well. It tracks. When the blood pressure dips, the body compensation by raising heart rate to keep everything circulating. So seeing those two laws kind of side by side, we were able to see this pattern, and it just kind of makes sense in that way. Another interesting layer here, I am also on a medication apparently that also keeps the heart rate from climbing too high. So the fact that my heart rate is still jumping into the 100s in the afternoon suggests that the blood pressure drop might be strong enough to override that effect, basically. Or that the timing, the meals, the heat in my area, activity, they could also be playing a role. Speaking of heat, it's late June. Weather has been absolutely brutal. Heat absolutely does raise your heart rate. Even though I don't go outside, I know, especially in the afternoons. So that might be another piece of the puzzle. I don't really go outside. I mainly go outside at night to do my walks. But yes, I have air conditioning. I actually have a hoodie on most of the time, but I do pop outside like during lunch or something like that to go see little strays or anything. So yeah, who knows? Whatever. Morning and the evenings, of course, are calmer. They're averaging around 91, 90. So it makes the afternoon spikes kind of stand out a little bit more. Big picture though, combination of low afternoon blood pressure, elevated afternoon heart rate, is the clearest signal that my data this week. With the amount of weight I've lost, it makes sense that my medication, again, might have shifted. And again, talk to my doctor. We're going to see if it's possible that needs to change. I'm going to, I'll bring in my data and let him make the decision. Yeah, go from there. That's what happens when you have a good doctor. You can actually trust them. Yay. Oh, let's see here. What's next? Let's talk about my sugars. Fun. So, let's see here. Overall average this week was about 110. That is honestly, I know I've been saying this for a few weeks now, but it is still wild considering I used to basically live in the 300s. This is still one of the biggest success stories in my entire health tracking that I've been doing. Now, quick note before the breakdown, every single reading this week was fasting, or at least near fasting. I like this little Copilot Health thing, by the way, because I was like, oh yeah. So I don't normally eat breakfast. Yes, they do say eat breakfast, most important meal of the day, or blah blah blah. I'm one of those people where, yeah, every once in a while I'm hungry in the morning and I can actually eat. But on a normal basis, even like at first we're like, oh, maybe it's medicated. No, I've been like this my entire life, where if I am not hungry in the morning and I eat anyway, I literally feel nauseous most of the day. So I would tend to not to eat in the morning. And then when I take my afternoon readings, it's always right before lunch. So basically I haven't eaten since whenever I ate the night before on a normal basis by the time my second glucose is taken. And then my third one are always taken at night. And after this, because now I know before I was like, okay, what it used to be was, okay, I ate lunch and then I did my exercise, I got off work, did my exercises, ate pretty late at night, and I would take my glucose right before then. So now, like I said, changed it to where I get off work, I eat dinner, and then I exercise, and then I take my glucose. So yeah, it's basically the evening readings are taken after a few hours after I've eaten usually. And I've done all my workouts normally, which means exercise already pulled like I said, exercise will pull your glucose down before I even tested. So anyway, whatever. I'm still happy with the numbers, whatever all that means. So my morning averages were 101.6. Overnight, like I said, true overnight fasting numbers. The range this week was between 89 to 115. And Wednesday's 89 was the best of the week. Like, I don't think I've actually ever seen below 90, unless I have, and I don't remember. I'm actually fascinated by that. So that is a sign of long-term improvement, which is good. My afternoons was an average of 108.8, so it's still fasting, because I hadn't eaten since the night before. I'm usually sitting around 100 or 121 after a full morning without food. Shows my body is doing it on its own. Basically what it's saying is that my medication is doing their job, but there's still some natural glucose production happening in the background. And my evenings average about 126. So what's saying is these are technically post-meal, but they're also post-workout. So they're lower than my true peak, I guess. So yeah. Wednesday I did have a high of 150. I hadn't seen that in a long time, but I also had a very bread-heavy meal, so it kind of made sense. Tuesday 102 was great. I had an earlier dinner. I had a longer workout window. And those numbers, again, are more about timing than anything else. So, but these are my numbers. The bottom line, though, everything is so far is looking pretty well controlled. The trend is solid. I'm just not quite capturing, I guess, my actual post-meal peak, because I always work out before I test. So apparently it's something to keep in mind going forward. And now knowing this is actually something I'm going to look into, and maybe I'll start doing that just to see like what it does, I guess, so I can get a thing. I just was like, oh, this is what I test. So I don't know. We're fine. We'll figure it out. We always figure it out, right? Yes. All right. Next, we're going to get into sleep. I am going to add in sleep this week under slight protest, because Google Health still refuses to tell me whether it's counting naps. And I know I had naps on Thursday and Friday. So we're going to go over what we got. At least just the main part that I can figure out. And please, Google Health and Copilot Health, I need you to integrate soon, so that way Copilot Health can pull my data and say, this is what's actually happening, because my poor brain is just not clicking. And I don't know why. And it could be because I just don't have time to really look at it. But who knows? Maybe one day I'll just sit down, we'll figure it out. But from what I got, at least, I do have an average of 6 hours and 18 minutes for the week. Apparently this says that there's some context. So the first thing that actually matters is apparently my sleep window. I'm learning something new this week, by the way, that I have. So my natural bedtime drifts usually about 1 a.m. or later. And I do have to wake up by 9 a.m. Well, before 9 a.m. for work. It's just when my work starts, kind of thing. Now so on a perfect night, realistically, I'm going to get about 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep with that sleep rhythm. They're not bad sleep habits, basically. I'm just brushing against the limits of my schedule and my biology. So here's what I'm kind of learning about. And again, we do not know if I have it, but we're going to bring it up to the doctor, I'll tell you that much. So we're talking about it, and apparently there's something called delayed sleep phase syndrome, called DSPS. This is a thing where your body is wired to sleep late and wake late. I haven't talked to my doctor yet, but it sounds suspiciously like maybe. I don't know. I'll talk to him. I don't know. I know nothing till I talk to him, but I'll talk to him. So, growing up, my mom told me that I was a night owl basically as a baby. I know I was definitely one as a teenager, because school mornings were a disaster. Let's not talk about that. Most of my jobs until my 30s were evening or overnight, and those were perfect for me. Even my last two jobs, I got lucky where they at least were able to adjust a little bit so I could work like a kind of like, I guess, a quote unquote later shift. Just to let you know, 9 a.m. still sucks, but it's better than 8. Okay? So yeah, DSPS, worth bringing it to my doctor, and we're going to see what they think. And maybe we'll do a thing on it later, because I'm kind of curious about what this is exactly. Anyway, let's get back to the numbers. Thursday and Friday were nap days. So those overnight totals are probably just more likely understated on exactly how much sleep I got. Total sleep on both days is probably higher than what was logged. Google Health is missing naps on other days too. The weekly average is actually probably higher across the board. Who knows? The only true short stretch is on the weekends. I got 5 hours and 14 and 5 hours and 9 minutes. But then Monday through Friday, the trend just kind of climbs into that 6.19 to 7.22 range, which is actually encouraging. When I say 7 point, by the way, it's like 7 hours, 22 minutes, and that's 7.22. I don't know. Anyway. But the bottom line to all this is working with a real biological and scheduling constraints, likely sleeping more than the raw numbers show, and treating this as a work in progress. The DSPS conversation with my doctor is the next step. So maybe we can figure out something about the sleep. I don't know. As we will talk, I'm bad at sleep, so we're going to figure that out, maybe. Who knows? Let's talk about steps. Now on paper my steps are kind of all over the place. But again, there's a pattern that makes it make sense. First of all, my total steps for the week was 45,170 steps. Makes it a daily average of 6,453 steps. That means nothing without context. So Monday through Wednesday, apparently that is the real data because those are the days of, actually moved. That's 3 days in a row of 11,700 to almost 11,900 steps. That's not trying, and that's not apparently, I'll just walk a little bit. That's full-on movement aligned with my evening walks and the stairs. It's above the classic 10K benchmark. 3 days running. So the fitness, the conditioning, the ability to move is there, and it is solid. Last weekend, numbers dropped to 286 and 1,078. But again, weekends are my intentional rest days because I was doing, I do video work. So it's not a lazy weekend. That's a different kind of productive weekend. And they're my body rest weekends. So not low, they're purposeful, I guess you could say. Now Thursday and Friday, the story shifts a little bit. I had 5 full days last week of exercise. I had a full rest weekend, right? And then I had 3 really strong days. So look at that, should have been fine, right? But the joint said, no, we're done. Sit down. The knees, the legs, the tennis elbow, the up arm, all flared anyway. So what this means is it's not so much that I'm tired. Well, Thursday I was tired, but it's not so much about tired. It's not about that I'm overdoing it. It's not about my motivation. It's mechanical, basically. My joints do have their own threshold, completely separate from my cardiovascular fitness. Friday just ended up being a full rest day. And honestly, that was probably the right call. My body spoke up, and I actually listened for once. So what's saying is that my lungs and my heart are doing great. My conditioning is there. When I move, I move. The limiting factor isn't my fitness, it's unfortunately my joints. My doctor already knows, so it's not like we're ignoring anything. This is just me learning my body's rhythm and inspecting it instead of trying to bulldoze through it. Which I'm pretty good at doing, we all know. Let's talk about water. Okay, so hydration. We're going to get partial credit this week. Because the weekend's missing, as always. Thursday was the pain goblin day. I think I got halfway through it and gave up. Friday. Yeah, did I track? No. Absolutely not. So we're working on 3 actual days and a cameo, I guess. But you know what? Those 3 days, 80, 80, 80. Clean, consistent hydration. Already know what I'm doing. Solid, right in the healthy range. And honestly, in the upper end of it. No chaos, no dips, no, oh, I forgot my water bottle in the car, and now I'm a raisin, just steady. Thursday rolled in with 40 ounces, like, hi, I heard you're in pain, so I'm just gonna not. Which tracks? When your body is screaming, hydration tracking is not the priority. Totally normal, totally human. So we don't know the weekend, we don't know Friday, we don't know if 80 ounces is actually enough for those days that we're doing hour plus workouts and stairs like gremlin with goals. I'm also apparently on a diuretic. My body is basically hitting the drain button all day. I did not know that. Did not realize that. Okay, I probably knew that. They probably told me. I probably forgot. That's usually the way it works. Basically, 80 ounces might actually be my minimum, not my good job number. We're going to look more into that. So when I'm in my routine, I hydrate, though, like a champ. When pain hits or the schedule collapses, the tracking just falls off. Understandable. It also means the full picture is kind of fuzzy. Workout days especially, bumping up a bit is probably safer. Just a safer move. So, see what we can do. And in all honesty, I usually drink more than 80 ounces. But again, this is a 40 ounce. These are some of my favorite ones to have. I have some 32 ounces. I have some larger ones. I have some small 20 ounces, stuff like that. So 2 of these. And then I always refill it. And then I might get all the way down to here. But because I didn't finish it, as we said before, I don't track it. So honestly, I do drink on a normal day. I do drink more than I'm actually having on here. My brain just went, yeah, you didn't drink it all. You don't get it. You don't get to have counted for that. It's basically what happens. So yeah, that's water. Let's talk about the deficit. No. Just no. I ain't tracking it this week. I'm not doing it. I do have 3 days worth of data. I have that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because I'm tracking all that stuff. But, because it was like just those 3 days, I have those 2 apps that I use are just seeming to argue with each other. I swear, can't explain it, but it does. I have about one brain cell left. I can't even talk. See? 1 brain cell left. I don't really have a data set, just a cry for help. Google Health and MyFitnessPal have officially joined forces to test my patients, and I am not giving them the satisfaction this weekend. It has been a rough week, and sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is just not stare at the numbers that make you want to throw your phone. So, I am skipping the headache with no guilt, no graphs, no math. We're just going to acknowledge that rest counts too, even when the data doesn't. Okay, we'll get back to it, just not right now. Okay, I just didn't feel like it. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Alright, anyway. Last part, because I'm talking a lot. I'll talk about the last part in a second. We all know the restart thingy. Hold on. Wow, this is going to be a long video, I can already tell. Probably because I rambled. I did ramble a lot in the very beginning. Anyway. Let's talk about measurements. So the verdict is officially in about the underwear last week. If you watched last week's, it was the underwear. The waist snapped right back to its 45.75, perfectly matching week 10. We are currently on week 12. My hips just didn't just recover, they actually dipped. Yay. So they're down to 49 compared to week 10's 49.25. Case closed, mystery solved, sanity restored. Those little tiny wiggles in the arms and the thighs and the calves, went up like 0.25, stuff like that. It could be anywhere from it did go up, it could be a gain, could have been a loss. But we all know I am bad at measuring things. It's more like my tape measure blinked. But here's what we know. From what I measured, my bust did drop another 0.5 inches. My waist and hips, they show a real downward trend once you remove the great underwear incident of week 11. Okay? Whatever. But the baseline, this is the real story, is the baseline. Like I said, I can't horribly measure badly that much. So this is why I like my baseline after over a period of time. Just to let you know, these numbers may not be completely accurate, but they're accurate enough to know that there is a downward trend. But basically, what we're looking at in the real glow up is my bust has gone down 7 inches. Actually, is that good? I don't know. All the men in the world. No. My hips have gone down 6.5 inches. My waist has gone down 5.75 inches. My left thigh, at least, working on these thighs, has gone down 2.75 inches. In total, I have gone down, overall, 27 total inches. 27.5 actually, since the start. Now that's not a rounding error. Well, I mean, it could be a little bit of rounding area, like maybe it's just 27 instead of 27.5, maybe, you know, but not by much. But it's not a fluke. It's a whole different body composition, and it's showing up exactly where it matters for health. So the net loss this week, at least for my measurements, 1.75 from last week. I'm really going to look at week 10, because whatever, I think some of that wasn't actually a loss. 1.25 inches. It was a solid week, basically. So, yeah. Shoo. This week was basically my body running its own side quests. And when I tried to stick to the main storyline, it just didn't work. I started out strong, and then the pain parade rolled in. My arms, my back, my nerves, the whole crew. And by Thursday, my body just hit the emergency shutdown button. Friday wasn't much better, and naps became the only language that I spoke. But even with all that, the data still tells a pretty clear story. I cannot talk. My measurements corrected themselves once the great underwear incident was removed from the equation. I promise to stop talking about that after this week. The scale bounced around, but still trended down. Blood pressure and heart rate finally made some sense once all my meds were actually logged. Glucose stayed beautifully controlled. Sleep was sleep-ish. And my steps showed exactly where the flare hit. It wasn't a perfect week, but it was a real one. A week where my body reminded me of every old injury, every nerve that likes to act up, and every reason that I really should pace myself. But it was also a week where the long-term progress still showed up anyways. Inches down, weight down, glucose steady, blood pressure patterns clearer, movement happening even when it wasn't pretty. So yeah, it was a chaotic, painful, productive, and still moving forward. It was a very me week. What's coming up next week? Actually, no, before I get in next week, since we're talking about weight and all that stuff, I'm going to show you this. Just real quick, this shirt, and I'm just going to show you the top. Why am I wearing a t-shirt again? Because here's the thing. As I said, celebrate. And when I say celebrate, I don't mean go eat a cake. I can. Just remember that you did. And remember that's why your scale decided to go whatever it's doing, or your sugars or whatever. But celebrate. So, was it my very first video or maybe my first week? I had said something and I showed a picture of, and told a story of how I gone to Hot Topic and I really, really, really wanted this shirt. And I thought, hey, I'm finally down to a 2X. I was a 3X when I started all this. And they carry most things in 2X. And this shirt would just come out, so they must have it right now. The largest they had was a 1X. I was like, I'll use that as like motivation, I guess. And I went and tried on the shirt, and I almost squealed in the changing room because, I mean, it was tight. But I got it on. Like, it wasn't like tight either. It was just snug. And it was a 1X. So, this week, and I'm looking at everything, and I was like, I'm going to put on that shirt. I haven't put it on since I put it on for that picture not long after I got it for my mom and my sister. And I'm comfortable in it. Like, I don't feel snug. I don't feel whatever. It is, it's not tight around the shoulders. It's just like when you have to take on and off a shirt. I have to be very careful about my shoulders. So I'm like, you know what? I'm aware. We've already gone over what kind of person I am, what I usually wear. Yes, I do like to wear blouses and stuff like that. But this is me. I am me. You be you. We're all one big happy family, right? Hey. So, yeah, quick quote. My shirt, very happy. So I just figured I'm going to wear it for the video because I'm celebrating this week. Anyway, let's roll in about next week. Deep breath. All right, next week is lucky number week 13, and I'm going to climb back on that horse. So now that my body has finally stopped slamming the emergency brakes, it is now time to ease back into tracking, moving, and, functioning like a person again. Of course, weekends don't count, because they never do with me. We all know this. But I am aiming to get my routine back on track once Monday hits. But here's the big thing. You might not be seeing videos next week. Why? It's possible. Well, okay, you might. You might see videos next week. You probably won't see videos next week. I might do a short. I don't know. Anyways, why? Next Saturday, is the 4th of July. I am an American, okay? I can at least tell you this. I'm not going to tell you where I live, but I am American. And it's not just any 4th. It is 250 years. And I am going to try and be brave this year. You have to realize that I do celebrate the 4th, always have, but I usually do it in the safety of my own home, because for fireworks, nope, I don't do sudden loud noises. I get scared very easy, makes me jump, makes me anxious. I don't like fireworks. I hide underneath the bed with my cats, okay? Crowds, also no. I don't do people. But I've been working very hard on my panic. I've been working very hard on my anxiety. And I've been working very hard on people in general, okay? And the thing is that being the 250th anniversary of America, it feels important. So, well, it is important. So I'm going to try and go out, even if it's just for a little while. I might chicken out and end up staying home. That is an option. But I'm going to give myself the chance to try. So, next week is either me out in the world doing something big for myself and then coming back with a 2-week catch-up the week after, or me at home like usual because the fireworks said boo and I said nope. Either way, I'm going to try. God bless our troops for keeping us free. God bless the USCA. And just a little early, happy 4th of July, y'all. So, like, comment, subscribe. Come back next week to see what tiny bit of progress, or naps, we uncover together. Mystery included, vibes pending. Hopefully, I'll see you next week, y'all. If not, again, 2 weeks. Alright, we'll figure it out. Bye.